Hey, welcome back to the Midday Q&A. I'm your host, the Duckman. In these Q&A videos, I try to answer people's questions, whatever they got, whatever they might want to ask, whether it be about my projects, or whether I've got the ability to answer on theirs. Now's your time to ask it. You can ask it here, you can ask it over on my other videos, you can ask it on Skeeter the Duck videos. You got a question about Skeeter even, ask it here. Let's go ahead and jump into our first topic today. Let's see, what we got? One of the first things that people get a real laugh out of is my voice, and it very often gets compared to a lot of different cartoon characters. Billy West characters usually seem to be the more popular ones. If you don't know who Billy West is, he did, what's his name, Fry in Futurama. He was also Stimpy in Ren and Stimpy. In fact, later years, he actually did Ren also. But yeah, sometimes I sound a little bit like Stimpy. I mean, just a little bit. I mean, I don't do it well, but my tone and inflection is very similar to that of Billy West. And I'm hoping that maybe someday my career will take part of that. And I used to actually host a radio show, and we're going to talk about that right after the introduction. So a lot of people want to know, just what did the Duckman do when he was on the radio? So we'll be back in just a minute. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, pluck that dingle bell you see down there next to the subscribe button, that way you get updates every time I upload a new video. And don't forget, check out Duckman Cycles VW Garage up on the Facebook group page. Also subscribe to Duckman Cycles VW Garage, my other YouTube channel, where I work on projects like Eleanor, which you see behind me here. Later on tonight, we're probably going to be pulling her rear suspension apart. Got to make some adjustments on it. And as always, if you'd like to email me, duckmancycles@duckshit.net. Thanks so much. We'll be back right after the intro. So Duckman, what's this radio show that you talk about once in a while? You seem to have a very unique voice and you don't sound like anybody else. What makes you so special and what put you there? Well, the answer is kind of really simple. I started working for a local computer firm when I moved here to Pensacola in 2005, which was actually, I was supposed to be here in 2004 after Hurricane Ivan, the same storm that actually ate Eleanor. Unfortunately, the house I was going to move into had this huge gaping hole in the roof, so I wasn't going to move there. The owner of the house said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll have it fixed in a week and you can move in there just fine." I knew better. After a hurricane that affects a wide area, you know, there's no roof shingles, there's no plywood, there's no parts to repair anybody's houses. So it wasn't until April, May of the following year, 2005, when I finally moved into Pensacola. But I applied for a job that I found in a newspaper. It said looking for local computer techs. And I said, well, geez, you know, I'm a local computer tech. I'm out of a job right now, but you know, I've spent enough time here just kind of hanging out, getting used to people in the area, and I haven't met any friends yet, so let's go ahead and apply for this job and see if it's any good. Well, I applied. They didn't call me back right away. In fact, they didn't call me back at all. Over a month had passed, and I figured they just weren't interested. So one day, I followed up by sending another email to the address that I sent one to originally, and I got back an answer. They said, hey, fill out this job application. I was like, okay, that's interesting. So I filled out the job application. Next day I was in for an interview, and then I still didn't get hired. Ended up working over at Office Depot for about a month or so, and then one day, out of the blue, my phone rang, and it was them. They wanted me for the job, and I was like, fantastic. I mean, it's 2 or 3 times the amount of pay that I was getting at Office Depot, which was beans, but Office Depot is good enough just to get, you know, a portion of my bills paid. If you can't find a job, you guys, I don't care who you are, pick whatever is going to pay you. I mean, something is better than nothing. And that was the case of that. You know, I swallowed my pride and went to work for somebody else, and it wasn't going to pay me that much. After about a month, as I said, I got hired for this new job. I started working at this computer company. And what I didn't realize right away is the owner of the company was actually a local media guy, a local news guy. He was a writer for a newspaper. He actually did a local radio program, actually many radio programs over the years, over many years. He's been a radio DJ, talk show host, a television talk show host, and a bunch of other things. Well, every Saturday morning, he would actually have a radio program, which is very similar to Kim Commando, and he would get on there and talk about computers and answer people's questions. Well, before you know it, before too long, he realized, hey, this guy has personality, this guy has voices, he does characters, he does impressions. Let's go ahead and put him on the show, and we'll see if he can answer people's questions on the spot, the same as he answers in the store. So people would call up with computer questions, and I would do my best to answer them. And we'd talk about current events that affect technology, or things that are about technology, new things that are happening, security alerts, and that kind of stuff. And before you know it, whenever he wasn't around, I started hosting the show alone, and I ended up pulling my secretary from the office also, because she was also a character. I mean, not too unlike myself, but she and I together really made a hell of a team, and 2 of us would run the radio show. And it was a lot of laughs, a lot of giggling. I mean, we had a good time, and we ran that program promoting our business and got people to call in. We answered their questions as best we could, and if we couldn't answer their question, we invited them to bring the computer down to the office where I'd look at it for them, and I give them what I call the 60-second diagnostic. This is free. I put it on the bench, I try to figure out exactly what you're going to need, and I give you your answer as to what goes down the list. If you want a bigger diagnostic where I have to tear the machine down and figure out what's going on with it, it goes to the back on the bench, and we collect a small diagnostic fee on it, which is completely applicable towards whatever repair that you get, so that way you're not ripped off. You don't pay twice like you do over at Best Buy, and that was our big thing. But yeah, I was kind of popular on the radio. I mean, people started to recognize my voice if I was out in public somewhere. They'd look at me and they'd be like, "You're that guy from the radio, aren't you?" I was like, "Yeah," and then they know my partner's name, not so much me. I mean, it wasn't called the Duckman, I was just Glenn. He wanted something more professional than the Duckman, but the Duckman is my persona. I mean, that really is me. The Duckman. And it's not just because I had the ducks. That name actually goes back a little bit further. I actually had a parrot that I named Duckburger, and as most people like to, they usually create a screen name or something on their handle based on either their children or their pets, and that's exactly what I did. I created an AOL screen name. It was called Duckburger. And Duckworth was the name of my parrot, and Duckburger is what I call him as a joke, so Duckburger became the AOL screen name, and nobody had it before, so it was kind of interesting all on its own. People began to call me just Duck, Duckman, Ducky, you know, all things duck related. I didn't even have ducks yet, and I didn't even have ducks till many years later. And this March 17th will actually be Skeeter's 17th birthday. And on Skeeter the Duck's channel, coming up next month, on her birthday, or really close to it, probably just before it, I'm going to release her first video, which was actually on a VHS cassette that you guys watched me repair on this very channel about a week or so ago. I got the videotape dumped to digital, and it's ready to go to YouTube. But that's how I wound up with the ducks. That's how the radio program happened. That's how I got my name, the Duckman. But anyway, I got Skeeter from a friend of mine who he just couldn't take care of her. He ended up with I forget how many ducks he ordered. I think he ordered 2 dozen or something from the internet, from a site called eggbid.com. Actually, it used to be eggbay.com, but it got renamed after Skeeter was purchased from that site. He ended up with like 26 in the box. I don't know if they miscounted or what the hell the deal was, but he had too many. I may not be giving the exact correct numbers, but that's what's in my memory, so we're going to go with it. But he couldn't take care of them. They were starting to get sick. They're starting to die. And the thing about ducklings is you got to keep them warm. And despite living in Southwest Florida, where it's pretty much warm all year round, it was a relatively cold March, and they weren't doing too well. So I ended up taking Skeeter home. Skeeter was a choice of my ex-girlfriend, and that's how we picked her out. And Jumper, her sister, who's unfortunately long gone, I picked her out, and the reason why is because when I walked up to the crowd of ducklings on the ground, the only one that didn't run away was Jumper. Just stood there and looked at me. So I said, "Yeah, you're going home with me." So I picked her up, and she squawked like hell, and we put her in a box and took her home. Anyways, we lost her a number of years ago. Not really quite sure what happened, but unfortunately she got sick. I think somebody did something to her, but I mean, that's beside the story, so we're not going to bring that subject up. I got fans. You're gonna be on YouTube. Oh, no! Everybody cheers when they see that camera out. I used to be bothered when I take the camera out. People would see me recording and they'd be like, you know, he's weird. But nowadays, with everybody doing all this digital media, it's not too unusual to have a camera up and set up, you know, and doing things. And there it is right there. Some people are concerned so much that people are going to identify me and figure out, you know, who I am and everything else. I mean, it's no big secret who I am. I'm very easily accessible. All Florida records are public. I'm not trying to hide from anybody, and you wouldn't believe how many of my fans actually recognize me right here working in my own driveway, just coincidentally driving down the street, and they back right back up to the driveway and they go, "You're the Duckman." Yeah. It's no big secret. I'm not hiding anything here. I'm sure whenever I wind up in my new place, though, I might be a little more quiet about who I let know where I'm at, but it's no big secret. And if I ever do get a paparazzi over here, what I've always said to all my friends is I'm going to get the paparazzi drunk. I'm going to hang out with them. They're not going to be interested in me anymore. And then when they're nice and toasty, I'm going to f them in the ass. I'm just saying. They'll never forget me. So anyway, I hope that answers, you know, about a little bit about my radio career, which I guess you could call it a career. It wasn't really what I did full-time, but I mean, it was a thing that I was asked to do and a thing that I was doing. I was actually running commercials on there too, by the way, voiceover commercials. It was kind of interesting. I would write out a script and I would do a commercial, and every week I would try to make it a little bit different and make it interesting. One of them was for a pest control company, and I would talk about specific kinds of pests and how they would do certain things to your property and how you should contact this company to go ahead and get the product that you need to eliminate that pest. And people that operated the radio station actually were rather intrigued with the scripts that I would write. You know, I wouldn't just give them a spot, a commercial, just tell them this is the business you need to go to. I actually give them a story which draws you into it. Advertisers really like that. Anyway, I was on an AM radio station also, if that matters to you at all. It wasn't FM, it wasn't music related, it was strictly talk. And I was on two of them simulcasted, one for the Pensacola Bay Area and another one that went all the way from, I'd say about Fort Walton, Destin in that direction, all the way out and just past New Orleans the other way. And depending upon the weather, if you know anything about AM radio, it has a tendency sometimes to skip. So it could go a lot further than that sometimes too. And every time we would be running a show, we'd say, wherever you're at, call in and tell us how your radio reception is. We want to know where you're at. And we would regularly get calls from New Orleans. And, you know, it's 2.5, almost 3 hours away from here. So that was a pretty wide spread that I was getting heard by, I think they said about 30,000 people every week. And that's a lot. I mean, I'm no Howard Stern. But, you know, nonetheless, people like to listen to me, and we had a pretty decent show out of it. So I hope that answers your questions. Really, I do. And you guys, thanks for watching. Really, I appreciate your questions. If you have any, go ahead and ask them away. I'll try to answer them in the next video. I'll do whatever I can for you. Always, always. I mean, I've got a Facebook group page where I try to answer the questions for you that you answer there. If you can share a photo of me, whatever you're working on, I'll do the best that I can to answer it. And if I can't, we've got other YouTubers up there that are not only watching this channel or they're on their Facebook, but they might be able to answer the question for you if I can. In fact, a lot of them have been faster about answering than I do because I work all the damn time. If I'm not working for a rather regular day job, I'm working on my own projects. So I don't get a whole lot of internet time anymore, except maybe to upload. And when I'm laying in bed, you know, I'm trying to answer questions, answer comments on my YouTube as best I can, and try to get caught up on the Facebook. And I tell you what, it's become quite a daunting task. And if this thing continues to grow, and I continue to grow this whole YouTube experience, I'm probably gonna need to hire some people to help me. I'm gonna have to. It's becoming a lot of work, and I'm only at, you know, 18,000 subscribers, 18,250 already. I can't believe that. Just in a week, 250 more subscribers. I mean, that to me is a record number, considering I don't have a viral video right now. Whenever I've had a viral video, I mean, I've gotten more than that in a period of even just a day. I've gotten, you know, 300-400 in a day. But with a non-viral video over the course of a week, 250 is a lot to me. Alright, well, as always, like, comment, subscribe, plug that dingleberry seat next to the subscribe button. Don't forget to check out Duckman Cycles VW Garage up on the Facebook group page. If you'd like to check out my Instagram, VV and subscribe to Skeeter the Duck, subscribe to VV the Duck VV, subscribe to Duckman Cycles and VW Garage. And if you'd like to email me, duckmancycles@duckshit.net. Thanks for watching. We'll be back tonight working on Eleanor.